What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Draft Hub. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my 2026 Chicago Bears mock draft, 7 round mock draft 2.0. Now, I've been on record as saying that I think that with a good offseason and a good draft, that the Chicago Bears could be Super Bowl contenders this upcoming season. I know there's a lot of people that are still wishy-washy on Caleb Williams and a lot of people think that Ben Johnson's first year as a head coach was, all luck. I don't conform to the norm. That well, maybe not the norm, but what some people think. I think Caleb Williams is great. I think he showed an incredible amount of promise in his second full season. I think he got much, much better. I think also that he has the best arm talent in the NFL. And I think he's only getting better. There are some throws that he makes that I really, truly don't think a lot of other guys or most other guys in the NFL can make. So I'm a full believer in Caleb Williams for the Chicago Bears. They did lose quite a bit, especially on the defensive side. So they lost Tremaine Edmonds, they lost Jaquan Brisker, they lost Kevin Byard. They definitely lost some production on the defensive side. On the offensive side, Ozzie Trapilo definitely showed a lot of promise at left tackle. Unfortunately, due to the injury update that I did read, it looks like he will be missing most of, if not all, of 2026. But it is not a career-threatening injury, which is really solid. It just so happened to happen very late on in the season, but the Chicago Bears game planned for that. They re-signed Braxton Jones. They brought in Jedrick Wills Jr. So I think we're going to leave the tackle position alone for now, especially after seeing that the injury to Trapilo is not career threatening. But there is some areas that we definitely need to improve. We need to improve the defensive line. I think the pass rush is okay. I do think we will be adding a pass rusher probably with one of those 4 picks, but I don't think it's nearly as big of a need right away as defensive line. Obviously, center with Drew Dahlman retiring and bringing in Garrett Bradbury via a trade. I do think that center is obviously a huge need here as well. Linebacker at some point could be a need. I know that they did bring in Kobe Bryant to play free safety. They also brought in Devin Bush, who's coming off of a fantastic season. So strong safety is also a huge need as well. So we're going to play around. We're going to see what we could find in this mock draft here. All right, so we're sitting here at number 25, and I'm quite the conundrum at this point for the Bears. So let's take a look at what we have on the board. Obviously, Emmanuel McNeill-Warren. I think if this is the case, the Bears should be running the card up to the podium at this point for Emmanuel McNeill-Warren. But also, let's just take a look at some other options here. Keldrick Falk is certainly intriguing as a long-term, defensive end on the opposite side of Montez Sweat. You have Caden McDonald, who I think is great, super young nose tackle archetype who's going to be a monster against the run. Just turned 21 years old, 6'3", 326 pounds, someone that was in the 99th percentile in run stop rate this past college football season. TJ Parker is someone that I like quite a bit. Caleb Banks, Peter Woods, these are all guys that I do think in a trade down situation we definitely could have acquired here at this point. But so what I think I'm going to do is, because Ryan Poles is an aggressive general manager, I do think I completely forgot to mention about the trade of DJ Moore, of course, too. Obviously getting that second round pick for DJ Moore from the Buffalo Bills. So I think I'm going to use some of these picks to my advantage here. And I do think that in this spot, I'm going to wind up taking Emmanuel McNeill-Warren, and I'm going to monitor how the defensive tackles are coming off the board, because basically every amazing defensive tackle is still on the board. So if we get to that like 35, 40 range, I might be able to package a couple of these picks to move up to grab one of these defensive tackles, because we know that Ryan Poles is aggressive. I know a lot of people that watch these videos don't like giving up, trade capital to move up for players. But hey, I mean, this is the name of the game. This is what you got to do. You have the extra draft capital. You might as well go up and get someone. So right here at 25, we're going to take Emmanuel McNeill-Warren. I just think he is exactly what the Chicago Bears need on the defensive side. So between losing Kevin Byard, who is like slowly but surely creeping up the career interceptions list, losing Kevin Byard, losing Jaquan Brisker, losing Nahshon Wright, there's so much turnover for this second. Emmanuel McNeill-Warren will be able to right into the safety role. 6'2", 200 pounds. He's just an unbelievable coverage player, fantastic against the run. He's just kind of a jack of all trades, what you're looking for for a strong safety at the next level here. So obviously they paid Kobe Bryant 3 years, $40 million to play free safety. McNeil Warren's a player that you can kind of piecemeal all over the defense. He's kind of more of a weapon on the defensive side than a true strong safety. But he is someone that I truly think the ball skills, the instinctual ability, that the ability to make a quarterback make an ill-advised throw and kind of bait him into these bad throws is exceptional. A 33.3 forced incompletion rate is absolutely exceptional. He really is a true stalwart as a coverage safety and someone that can come down and play in the box as well as like a sub package linebacker, hybrid linebacker, whatever it may be. I'm looking for production. I'm looking for playmakers in this mock draft. And I do think that Emmanuel McNeil Warren is a gigantic playmaker and would be a massive step in the right direction to kind of, building up this Chicago Bears secondary yet again after losing quite a bit of production. So we're gonna go slow with this mock draft here. We're gonna take Emmanuel McNeil Warren at number 25, and we're gonna monitor the way that these defensive tackles are going to be going off the board. So Caden McDonald is kind of one of the first to fall here. Let's take a look. I know the Jets are probably going to wind up taking. I would love to move up to around here to take Christian Miller. Okay, sorry. I don't know why it does this every once in a while, but it doesn't show the trade sometimes. It just goes straight back to the board. So the trade was to move up to number 36. We gave up 57, 89, and we gave up a 2027 fifth round pick. So that was the trade to move up to number 36. And again, I know people aren't going to love these trade ups, but to be quite honest with you, I think this is completely necessary at this point. I do think that the Chicago Bears need heavy hitters and need impact players, and these guys are impact players. At 36, I'm going to take Christian Miller. I think personally for me, pardon me, I think that Christian Miller is the best overall defensive tackle in the draft class. I think he's someone that's being classically overlooked in this draft cycle, or not overlooked, or maybe just kind of prospect fatigue. He's incredibly athletic. He's 6'4", 315 pounds. He's a player that just has incredible length as well. 21 years old. He's great strength in his play as well. A very, very solid run defender as well. One of the best actually in the country over the last 3 years for an SEC team for the Bulldogs. He's actually a very good pass rusher as well. He just does have a trouble kind of hitting home, if you know what I'm saying. He does create a lot of pressure. He just doesn't generate it into a lot of sacks. But that's not really what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for that, run stuffing, pocket moving, three tech defensive tackle. And I think that's what we're going to be able to get here with Christian Miller. So it was a decent trade, 57-89. And, a future 5 is kind of a lot to move up, but the defensive tackles were flying off the board. And I think at number 36, if you can get the best defensive tackle on the board at this point, I think you go up and you get him. So we made the trade with the Raiders, and we're going to take Christian Miller here at number 36. So at 60, we're probably going to wind up attacking the offensive side. We're going to, I just realized that I didn't put it back to fast mode. So we're going to do that so we can get down to the next pick. But yeah, so I would love to tackle either a wide receiver, depending on who's on the board, either a wide receiver or a center at this point, because we are getting, a little bit later in the draft here. I'm looking to see if there's a specific player on the board for the interior of the offensive line. Sam Hecht, is a really, really excellent player. That might be the route that we go here in this mock draft. Let's just take a look. Maybe we could recoup some assets that we gave up. I don't really think we can, and I'm not really willing to move down 13 spots just to pick up an extra, middle round pick. No, I just wanted to check, just see what was going on there. Yeah, so Bryce Lance actually is quite an interesting option here as well. I'm looking for more of a slot receiver, so that might be something that we tackle at number 129. We might be looking for a traditional slot receiver. There's a couple guys I think I have in mind, but obviously after trading DJ Moore, you have Rome Odunze, you have Luther Burden, and then there's just a lot of, middling depth pieces behind those two guys. Obviously, Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet are going to have bigger roles in this offense next year in the passing game, especially Colston Loveland. But for now, let's take a look at the offensive line. We need to get a starting center here, and really we have our pick of the litter. We have Connor Lew, Sam Hecht, and Jake Slaughter are our top three options here at this point. I don't think that we overthink it. Personally, for me, Sam Heck is the best center in the draft class, and he still is here at number 60. There's a lot of different ways you can go. You could risk it, and you could wait until 129 to get someone like a Logan Jones or a Jager Burton, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to go, like I said, we want impact players, and I think Sam Heck is one of those players that is just, especially as a run blocker, is just absolutely exceptional. Great pass blocker as well. Don't get it twisted. I do think, let's see, the stats were here 10th in run blocking for qualified centers. And then he gave up 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, and just 7 pressures along 759 snaps this past year. He's been quite good. He is a little light in the bridges, a little bit of an older prospect as well. But if he can get that play weight up to 305, 308 pounds, I think that extra little bit of weight will definitely give him, that much more without sacrificing his athleticism. So he is a superb prospect in this draft class here. And that's what I'm going to go with here. Sam Heck is going to be the pick at number 60. So a lot of talking, a lot of maneuvering around the board. I do apologize if I am boring some of you guys, but really I am trying to just get, more quality over quantity in this draft, if that does make sense. So 129, I'll probably be looking to grab a wide receiver, depending on who's on the board. Let's just take a look at what we have done so far. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Christian Miller, and Sam Heck are the players that we've taken up until this point. And like I said, I would love to get, really with these last 3 picks, I'd love to get an edge. I don't think edge, like I said before, is actually like the craziest need out there. Maybe a depth piece. They do have Austin Booker. They have Deo Odedengbo as well. So they're paying him quite a bit of money. So, there is certainly, options that they can go with the pass rush. Let's just take a look at what we got here. So wide receiver, like I said, is something that I would be interested in adding. 170, Jesus. Wide receiver, definitely, especially with this type. Ooh, Jacoby Lane is quite interesting as well. Kevin Coleman, I do want to add. It wouldn't be the worst to add a boundary receiver to put Luther Burden in the slot. I don't think that would be the worst option out there. But there are some really, really good slot options out here at this point. Eric Rivers is quite interesting as well. A player that transferred to Georgia Tech from Florida International, didn't really have the year that I think Georgia Tech fans were expecting. At this point, you know who I really like here? I'm going to go back to the well. At Missouri, Kevin Coleman Jr. was actually one of the most productive slot receivers in the FBS over the last 2 years. Mississippi State 2 years ago, he had over 900 receiving yards. This past year for Missouri, he had over 700 receiving yards, only the lone touchdown. But he is an exceptional player out of the slot as well. 2.9% drop rate. He's an explosive athlete. He's a great route runner as well, has that great quick twitch. 18 missed tackles forced as well. And you got the 58 out of 66 catches he made, 58 of them were out of the slot. So I do think the way that the roster is constructed, I do think you're looking at Luther Burden and Rome Odunze on the boundaries. And then you do need a prototypical slot receiver. And I think in this draft class, he's probably one of the top 5, maybe even top 3 pure slot wide receivers in this draft class. So 129, we are going to take Kevin Coleman here for the Chicago Bears. I would love to trade down to acquire a little bit more picks here, a little bit more draft capital, but I think I'm going to hold off on that. I would like to add a linebacker and an edge rusher with our last 2 picks. It's just the way that the board fell. I mean, I'm that's what you got to go off of. You go into it with a certain designation of players that you're looking for, of course, but the board never falls the way that you want. You have to get aggressive. You have to move up to get the players that you want. And that's what we did. We moved up. We got Christian Miller. It's going to be more of a draft quality over quantity, but I think these are really high end players that we have been adding. 39. We're probably going to be looking at a tackle, but I do think, especially with Braxton Jones, Jedrick Wills, I think that the tackle position will be fine for this season. Braxton Jones will probably slot right back to where he's familiar at left tackle. I know it's not the greatest option, but it certainly is an option. So let's take a look at edge, look at linebacker. We have, 2 of the next 3 picks, so I'm not really worried about it. Jaden Duggar is quite interesting at this spot as well. You're looking at a 6'5", 250-pound sideline to sideline linebacker. It looks like TJ Edwards is probably going to be out the door after this year. And I know that they did sign Devin Bush and they re-signed DeMarco Jackson, and Jack Sanborn, I believe. But the depth behind those guys is pretty thin. And I do think Jimmy Rolder actually is a very, very solid option in this spot as well. Just a no bells and whistles linebacker from Michigan. Really, really solid against the run as well. Not the greatest coverage player, and that's really kind of where he loses it for me. But Duggar is a player that's Carson Sherrar is actually a very, very solid option at this point as well. Could definitely be interested in that. Just a really high missed tackle rate for me, and I'm not really interested in all that. Justin Jefferson could be quite interesting as well, just due to the overall coverage ability. He's not particularly great as a pass rusher or a run defender, but as a coverage player, he's very, very good. Very, very experienced as a coverage linebacker. Whatever happened to Ruben Hippolyte the fourth? Bears fans, if you guys can answer that one for me. I think I'm going to wind up taking Jaden Duggar here in this spot. I just think the value of a player that I can mold into whatever I kind of want. Like I said, he has the athleticism, he has the size. He just kind of lacks the overall polish, and I think that's especially with the linebackers that the Chicago Bears have. He's afforded time to work on his craft. So we're going to take Jaden Duggar here at 239. I'm banking on the size and the athleticism. And then at 241, let's add an edge rusher here. Let's see who's on the board. There's a couple guys that are, yeah, this could be it here. This definitely could be it. So I was looking for a little bit more of a heavier edge rusher here, and I think I have what I'm looking for here in Michael Heldman. I did a NFL Draft Diamond short about Michael Heldman about a couple weeks ago, and I do think he's quite interesting. 6'4", 260 pounds. He had an unbelievable redshirt senior year for the Central Michigan Chippewas. 12 sacks. He was kind of all over the place for them. Really just a pure pass rusher. That's what I'm looking for at this point. I'm looking for someone, he was good in run defense as well, but he's not really a run defender per se. Though the run defense grade is good, but the stop rate's only 7.5%. So, that's kind of middling, a little bit above average, but kind of middling for an edge rusher that you're looking to set the edge. But Heldman is a pure pass rusher. The production was there in the past. It was certainly there this year. And at this point, you're banking off of specific guys. And that's what Michael Heldman is. He's a specific designated pass rusher. And I think that's exactly the kind of juice that the Bears would need off the edge. So we're going to finish up this mock draft while taking Michael Heldman at pick number 241. And I really like this mock draft. Like I said, quality over quantity here in this mock draft, but I think we took care of a lot. I would have loved to grab another cornerback. I would have loved to grab an offensive tackle, but it just wasn't in the cards, unfortunately, there. So what we did in this mock draft is we took Emmanuel McNeill-Warren at pick number 25. We traded up. We traded pick number 57, 89, and a fifth rounder for 2027. And we traded up to 36. And with that pick, we took Christian Miller. We took Sam Hecht at pick number 60, be our new starting center. At 129, we took Kevin Coleman Jr. At 239, we took Jaden Duggar. And then at 241, we took Michael Heldman. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.